Yeah, although prosecutors don't have to show a motive to get a conviction for first-degree murder, juries want to know the motive, especially when they see this clean-cut guy with no criminal background. They want to know why he did it. Now, I think it's coming into focus why he did it. He seemed to be a devotee of serial killers and crime. I mean, he studied under the BTK's autobiographer. I mean, he was so interested in true crime that it looks like he wanted to be the center of his own story.
This is Reporter Room with Jessica Della Davies.
Welcome to Reporter Room. My name is Jessica Della Davies. I'm an investigative journalist, and today we're going to be talking about the Bryan Kohberger case. We have so many things to get into. Let's get started. It appears that Bryan Kohberger did return back to the 1122 King Road house hours after what he allegedly did to Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. Now, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. I want to say that on the outset. To be clear, I am putting a speculation alert on this video. I just want to address all of the brouhaha about how smart Bryan is and how inept the Moscow Police Department is. I think the Moscow Police Department did a great job. They reached out and got help from the Idaho State Police and also the FBI, and Bryan has been indicted. So I want to talk to you about Bryan's intelligence and whether or not he did return to the crime scene in just a moment. We know from the phone records that Bryan's phone was switched off during the hours of the K. I'm not going to say the word. However, the cell phone data revealed that his cell phone did ping near the 1122 King Road residence just after 9 a.m. that morning. So why was he there? Was he just swinging by to relive what he had done or to enjoy the aftermath? Or did he realize that he had left his knife sheath behind at the crime scene? As a criminology student, he would have known how important DNA is. Everything I'm sharing with you today is my opinion, and opinions are not facts. This is a Critical Thinkers channel, so if sharing your opinion and exchanging ideas with each other and with me as a content creator appeals to you, then Reporter Room is the right channel for you, and I'm so glad that you are here. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. It really does help me out a great deal. As I shared with you in my last video, I do not think that Bryan is as intelligent as he's being made out to be. This was not the work of a seasoned criminal mastermind. In fact, I believe that this probably was his first time doing something like this. But at the same time, I think he would have continued on. I think he would have repeated this behavior. I think he would have done this again had he been successful. He studied BTK, and it seems like he was a devotee. So I did a video talking about the motive and the black pill, and if you have not seen that about being an involuntary celibate and that whole movement, you will want to check that out next. I do a deep dive into this movement and why I believe that this is a potential motive in this case. So there were multiple mistakes, and I think the biggest mistake was leaving that knife sheath behind and having the Hyundai Elantra being picked up by multiple video cameras also did not help. And as I shared with you in one of my prior videos, Bryan changed the registration of the Hyundai Elantra from Washington to Pennsylvania, and in my opinion, he was trying to hide his car. So did Bryan return to the crime scene on the morning of November the 13th? According to cell phone tower pings, it appears that he did. So was he enjoying the aftermath of what he had done, attempting to relive it? Or did he return to the crime scene in a state of panic, enter the house to try to retrieve the knife sheath, which did ultimately reveal DNA that linked him to this crime scene, according to the affidavit? Now, we know from the affidavit that law enforcement was able to match familial DNA, that means a family member, from the crime scene to trash left outside of Bryan's parents' house. Garbage is considered public property, and therefore it's fair game for law enforcement. They wouldn't have needed a warrant to get this DNA. Now, Kaylee's father has stated to us that Kaylee had a stalker, and we know from the affidavit that Bryan Kohberger was in the area around 12 times leading up to what happened on November 13th. So I think it's fair to ask if he was Kaylee's stalker. Now, when Bryan returned home to his apartment in Pullman, Washington, he must have known he left that knife sheath behind. And at this point, he needed to make a decision. That was either to A, let it go and forget about it and hope it didn't have his DNA on it, or B, return to the crime scene and attempt to get his knife sheath back. And I believe that this accounts for the phone pings that occurred between 9:12 and 9:21 a.m. on November the 13th, and I think this also accounts for the second shoe print. So according to cell phone tower data, Bryan remained at the King Road house from 9:12 a.m. until 9:21 a.m. What was he doing during this time? And did he re-enter the house, or was he just sitting out there trying to figure out if he should risk going back in to get that knife sheath? In my opinion, Bryan was unaware that there were two other roommates sleeping in the house that night. And I think it's likely that he encountered Ethan, and even more likely, I think it maybe he encountered Xana on his way out from what he did to Maddie and Kaylee, in my opinion. But I don't think he saw the roommate D as he exited the house. Remember, his adrenaline would have been going, his heart would have been pounding, and he was in a hurry to get out of the house. I think the fact that D froze may have saved her life. And I believe that this is why law enforcement was very specific to tell all of us that the two roommates were both sleeping on the first floor and did not reveal to us that D was sleeping on the second floor. They wanted and needed to protect her until they could catch this guy. So there were two different types of shoe prints found at the scene. We have the van shoes that we know about from the affidavit, but we also have this footprint that was found outside the patio door on the second floor. So was this second footprint, which was not revealed in the affidavit, was this Bryan returning back to the scene of the crime? So do you remember all of the brouhaha news reporting that went on about the front door being open around 9 a.m. in the morning of the murders? It's possible that it could have been sitting open the whole time. It's certainly possible. But I think it's more likely that he either did attempt to return and go into the house through the patio doors and left through the front door. He would have known from his college education how important DNA is, and he would have known that it could potentially lead back to him. Was it a risk? Yes. Did he take that risk? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. So when asked about the open door, the police were very coy, weren't they? They did not respond to requests by the media for comment. And I believe that they know whether or not Bryan re-entered the house. I believe this could be the reason that this boot print from outside was not included in the affidavit. Is the prosecution holding on to this information, waiting for the discovery phase of this process? Keep in mind that the affidavit with the information that we have so far, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The prosecution is not going to release the bulk of the information until they absolutely have to during the discovery phase. Did Bryan return to the crime scene to retrieve that knife sheath? Is this why the front door was left wide open? Does this account for that second shoe print? Subscribe